Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
I need new music.
This is the JJO Discover New Music Podcast.
Bobby, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk new music, man. The new album, Revelation from Saliva, 12th studio album, the 5th for you. Obviously, we all know Saliva has been through a lot, man, since its inception. And your time with the band, obviously, you've put now over a decade in. What maybe stood out in making Revelation compared to previous works that you've been on, or maybe previous works from before your time in making this album?
It felt like we had a lot of time to make this record, even though that wasn't our intention. Originally, we started working on it in 2020, early, February 2020, March 2020. And, with other previous records, we would take our time, finding the songs, but then we would typically just kind of go and bang out the recordings. This one was one of those where we took our time with the songs and with recording. Literally the last solo that Wayne tracked was like 5 days before he passed away, so it was in March. So we just kept adding songs and being like, oh, we don't really like this one anymore. Let's write some more. And we ended up with about 34 songs. Wow. Before we narrowed it down to 12. We could do a double record. There's a ton of songs still left that nobody's heard.
And with that time, some people could call that a blessing. Some could call it a curse. Where did you find yourself for that, having that time? Were you breaking things down more? Were you second guessing yourself? Talk about maybe if that time was good or bad in your opinion, maybe a little of both.
I just really wanted the record to be honest, and I wanted it to be next level for us. I didn't want to be like, oh, it's gotta sound like typical Saliva stuff. And Wayne was very adamant too. Like when I played him some of the ideas for Come Back Stronger, that was like the first song that was like the blueprint for the record that we wanted to make. And it just felt heavier and just, he thought it felt next level. And I think that's what we were trying to do, and we knew we wanted to get back at radio, and you gotta put out stuff that feels relevant. And it's not nothing against the old stuff and the style, but a lot of that stuff was put out 20 years ago. And, I'll hear bands put out stuff today. I'm like, man, that reminds me of total early 2000s, like, new metal stuff, which is cool, man. It's great to hear that. We just know the record that we wanted to make had to be, we didn't want to like overthink it, but we definitely wanted to put some different elements and styles. And, Wayne we love like industrial stuff, a lot of like Nine Inch Nails, a lot of that. So we wanted to bring in a lot more industrial sounding things for the record too. And
you brought up something there and going back, and you look at the history of that, because now Saliva is at a generational point of fans. You got people that started listening all the way back in 96 and through all of the changes and everything you guys have been through. For a Saliva fan that started in 96 and listening now, where would maybe that fall for them when they're listening?
It depends on who you ask and what fan. Like, if they have an open mind, those are the ones that I've found, like, because I'll meet people all the time that are day one diehard fans. But they also love like Ice Nine Kills and all these new bands too. So they change with the time. So they don't really stay, oh my God, they got to sound like this forever, or I'm never going to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think when people are able to have an open mind, I think it's easier for them to accept good music. Saliva, no matter what, like even from day one or now, it was all about writing the best songs possible. It was never like, oh man, let's go make a reggae record, or it was never, never anything like that. It was, it's just keep it rock and keep it heavy and big melodies and just write good songs. I don't know. And that's never changed.
I do think though, Saliva reggae album might be something you need to work on now. That might be the next thing, right?
Yeah. Well, some bands are like, oh man, we got to experiment and try different things. I think, it's good to do that in steps. Like Godsmack put out, a record a couple years ago, and one of the songs that was a single, it was a huge song for them, and it definitely didn't sound like a Godsmack record. It sounded like it could be a different band, but it worked for them.
Yeah, it's easy, especially as long as Saliva's been around and long as you have been there and performing, finding that not getting pigeonholed into a sound, you still want to do right by the fans, but also experiment. And I'm sure there's that fine line as an artist of what you're putting together, your artistic integrity, if you will, but still being able to explore and expand and find that sound that you're looking for, which I believe you guys did in this latest album, at least from what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Nobody wants to put out a record that the fans don't like. I mean,
right.
You always want to, when you put your hard work into writing songs. And for me as a lyricist and writing, a lot of these songs are about what I went through, to become sober. And I've been sober. October will be 5 years for me. And I remember some of these songs early on, like 2020, I was only not even 2 years sober yet. And you start thinking about like when all the COVID stuff happened and, you're seeing people dying and all that stuff. It kind of puts you in a dark place. You can't go tour, you can't go do stuff, but it's like being able to maintain that sobriety was a blessing for me. And I felt like I, came out stronger in the end, my relationship, my wife and everything just felt like it just got better with sobriety. And a lot of the songs are a reflection of that and what I went through. And then there's a lot of light at the end too. And I didn't want to write a bunch of poor me songs. It was more just songs that I feel like people could relate, but also letting them know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get through it. If I can get through it, anybody can.
Well, congratulations, by the way, buddy, on 5 years. That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. Well, let's talk about. Obviously, I know what a lot of people are wondering about, or it's been all over ever since we lost Wayne. I'm sure you've seen the outpouring from fans and losing such an important member, not just to Saliva, but to the music community. Obviously. And having him on this record and obviously now even extra stuff, because you said you had 30 some odd songs with him in there, the bittersweetness of it. I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's how I would probably describe it. But what are the feelings there at losing Wayne, having this new album out and how the band is moving forward and how you guys are moving forward with that?
Yeah. So when I mean, obviously losing somebody, like it's devastating, just as a person too, because Wayne was such a great person, a great human, screw the music stuff. He was great at music and a phenomenal underrated guitar player, but just the way he was, I never knew him to have enemies, like none. And anytime there was ever a negative situation, he always was positive about it. I love that about him. And these songs, like on this record in particular, I think that I've got memories, man. Like just each song, I can literally put myself in that room with him while he was tracking guitars and whatever. And because I would track him and work with him and stuff. So I remember everything from like jokes and stories and things we were talking about. That's what the positive I get out of this too, and just being able to have those memories. 12 years, I knew the guy, and we became very close. But I think for the world to be able to hear this stuff too is incredible, because he was proud of it, and he felt like this was the best record he'd ever done. We did a whole covers record too that nobody knows about that we may put out around Christmas. I don't know. A bunch of really cool songs, man. And he had a lot of fun playing a lot of that stuff, because he grew up on a lot of those songs that we covered too, and was all, some of the 80s stuff. And it's going to be interesting if we start dropping some of those.
Listen, rate, share, subscribe. Discover new music now at WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rock has a new interview every Thursday evening between 6 and 7. 94.1 JJO.
I need new music.
This is the JJO Discover New Music Podcast.
I know everyone is still, hurting from that, and you especially, like you said, 12 years, and that's band years. That's a long 12 years with a guy when you're doing that on the road and having that kind of time. But we're at least happy that we have the new album, and hopefully more to come with the lasting legacy of Wayne and Saliva and everything like that. Again, Revelations, the brand new album from Saliva, 12 studio album, which is crazy. 12 out there. That's quite a few, but we can't wait to hear more and see what else is up in store for you guys, along with the tours, everything like that. I always ask this on new records, and I know this is kind of a hard question. Do you have a favorite track on the album? Is there one that maybe speaks to you, that really reaches out to you?
Yeah, there's a song called Horizon. It's the last song. It was always intended to be the last song. His playing's pretty phenomenal on it. And the way the outro goes, it's like just him doing that Memphis blues stuff. And it was something he had never really done before, like outros, solos and things like that. And it just so happened it's track 12. And lyrically, like when I listen to it now, it's, I get chills thinking about it, but that song has way more meaning now. And it just makes total sense. Like just the way it just sums up everything that we've done and we've been through. So it's really, really cool.
I love it, man. Well, again, everyone, Revelation, the brand new album from Saliva. Cannot wait to get our grubby little hands on it and put it in the CD players and listen to it loudly, as you should with all Saliva music. It's fantastic. Then on the road, you guys got some shows coming up, and then what's on the horizon after that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, man. One step at a time here. It's been a crazy year. It's been a rough year for me and all. And so, I'm glad to get out and be able to share this record and go tour with Drowning Pool. And, they're friends of mine. It's funny. CJ was one of the first guys I met when I got in the band. And he's such a great dude. Those guys are great guys. And, they got Ryan singing with them again. I love Ryan. And it's going to be a good tour. It's going to be fun to be around people that they like to grind too, man. They want to go out and it's rock and roll. So I'm stoked to be able to get out there and see the fans. Really most important and go hang out with them and go to merch every night and be able to just, shake hands and take pictures and all that stuff that I've missed, very much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we can't wait. I have a fun little quick Drowning Pool story. One time they played a show down in Springfield, Missouri, where I was working. Awesome show. Amazing, sweaty little club. Later on, somehow we ended up at a house party, like in the middle of nowhere. Okay. All of a sudden, guy takes his shirt off. We're like, it's time to leave. Whenever a guy pops his shirt off at a house party, you're like, it's not going to go well. We're walking down the side of the road. Drowning Pool's bus pulls up next to us. They're like, guys, where were you? And we're like, where were you? And we got on the bus and we finished up the night. So they saved us from having to hitchhike, or we hitchhiked, I guess, with Drowning Pool at 5 o'clock in the morning in Springfield, Missouri. So good stuff. They're good people. Good people.
That's awesome. Yeah. These days, though, like a guy takes his shirt off. You pull out your phone and you just follow him.
This is going viral, man. I'm putting this on Reddit. So, but not that night. Not that night. There wasn't any phones. We just got out of there. We got while the getting was good. Awesome. We're going to play rapid fire now that we got the important stuff out of the way. Real quick, though, I want to commend you, man. The duets that you do with your daughter. As a girl dad, my daughter's 2. I think it's one of the coolest things. I'm sure you've been having a lot of fun sharing that with your daughter and doing those duets, huh?
Dude, it's been awesome, man. It's crazy. Like just being able to do that is like, it makes life great. Connecting with her on that level and being able to help her and teach her. And it all really started out with me just kind of teaching her harmonies and being able to, because, I'd worked with singers and through the years, and I've noticed even myself a lot of times have a hard time finding harmonies. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, if you can sing harmonies to your stuff, man, that's a good thing. So I started out doing that. And then it was like, okay, this thing just blew up really quick. So we just kept doing it and we're still putting out, songs all the time. And she's got stuff in the works for her. She's going to LA to record with Howard Benson, which is awesome. And yeah. So we're stoked. She's going to be doing her own thing, man, next year. And I'm pumped about it. I'm a proud dad. And yeah. And it's been great too. Like a lot of the, there's been a lot of bands that have reached out and messaged me and stuff. And I'm like, dude, hey, will you do one of our songs? It's been I love it. Cool, man. So. That's
cool. Well, and so because sometimes usually you're like, all right, I don't want you to be in a van touring and doing that. Don't do the rock star lifestyle. But it seems like you're totally supporting if she wants to go down the musical route and have that career. Maybe you'll open for her someday. How about that? There you go,
dude. You know what? She could go tour right now. I would have to open for her. I know.
Yeah, there you go.
but that's good, man. I'm just stoked about everything that she's doing. So, and I'm thanks for noticing and as well, and it's circulated, so
right. Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, well, let's do rapid fire and I'll get you on your way. No wrong answers on this. You just go with your gut and we'll get to learn a little bit more about Bobby. All right, first one, Everybody Wang Chung tonight, or everybody was Kung Fu fighting?
Everybody Wayne Chung for sure.
Thank you. You're the first one to say Wang Chung.
Yeah.
I just interviewed Danny Warsnop. He had no idea what he's like, Wang Chung, what are you talking about? I'm like, you've never heard Everybody Have Fun by Wang Chung? He's like, no, I've never heard this. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. All right, good. Everybody Wang Chung, thank you.
Wayne and I had an inside joke about Wayne Chung. I called him years ago. I was at Epcot and they had like the wine festival going on that they do every year at Disney. And they were playing, they were the band. And I called him during that song and played it on his voicemail. It was hilarious.
I've never in a million years would have thought Wang Chung and Saliva inside joke would ever be something, but I love it.
Incredible. We had tons of those.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Choco Taco or Flintstone Push Pop?
Choco Taco.
Would you rather have soaked jeans or damp socks?
The jeans.
Soaked jeans? Yeah, damp socks right on the heel every single time. Every time.
No.
Would you rather see Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster?
Bigfoot.
Would you rather fight a man with bear arms or a bear with man arms?
Definitely a man with bare arms.
Man with bear arms. Any reasoning behind that?
Get him on the ground, man. Ground fight.
Ground and pound. Ground and pound. Bobby, thank you so much for humoring me. More importantly, thank you so much for taking the time. Brand new Saliva out in September. Revelation. It's going to be awesome. And thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Listen, rate, share, subscribe. Discover new music now at WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rock has a new interview every Thursday evening between 6 and 7. 94.1 JJO.
See care in a new light at Madonna Rehabilitation Hospitals, where top medical minds lift you up, where the very best in specialized rehabilitation brings out your very best, where over 60 years of breakthroughs in research and technology spark your newfound strength. In our world-class hospitals, this is something greater than rehabilitation. It's renewed strength for life. Learn more at MadonnaRehab.org.